150
Then
or
I'm
1.5.
Yes. My goal is to get about 400,000 a year to run this. So I'm going to find the matching plus.
And so what initiatives are you doing to raise those matching funds and to get the word out?
Yep. Right now I am meeting with government, city, and private investors. So I'm looking for banks, law firms, accounting firms who really have a priority and interest in supporting women in tech. So I'm going to them first. Because they serve as mentors as well. So I'm really just on the road talking and saying who has interest in this area, who wants to support it, who wants to be a founding investor in the program.
We have another
a million conversations, really.
I'm good. You're good? Okay. I'll race you.
You win.
How are you going to differentiate yourself from what's available now through like NABO or through what they're offering at the National Entrepreneur Center over down by the Fashion Square Mall?
Excellent
Is
question.
it just going to be by focusing on tech specifically, or are there other things that you're doing?
It'll be open to absolutely anyone. Well, we're going to bring expertise in tech. And that's a really good question. Before I did this, I was the president of the Orlando Regional Chamber of Commerce. And so really understand the necessity, of not replicating assets. We have so many brilliant assets in our community. And so the purpose of this is NABO, the National Entrepreneurship Center, SBDCs, all the associations will be in here. And I've already gathered over the course of the last 8 months, we have about 50, maybe 100 different entrepreneurial organizations that will be listed here. So I've already started gathering them in a room and begin talking about the Women's Business Center. How do we synergize? We need to communicate if we feel like there's unnecessary overlap. Where do we fill in the gap? So what we'll begin doing is pulling the ecosystem together on a regular basis to make sure that we are synergizing. And when we do our one-on-one consultation with clients, we have all of those tools in our toolkit under the women's leadership ecosystem, and we'll be able to say, you know what, now I think here's a business planning course at the National Entrepreneurship Center. Here you can go get some shared space at Canvas. By the way, we recommend this professional association, so we can build a whole plan around the richness and the diversity of the resources already available in our community. And this is helping to get a handle on everything that's in there, what they do, so that we can create a plan for everybody that's based on what the resources have. So we will bring in extra expertise in tech because that's missing. We will work with any business, male, female, startup, first, second stage, but we're going to bring extra special focus on commercializing technology, taking technology to the marketplace.
There we go.
Yeah, this may be anecdotal, but here at Rollins, we've noticed that there's a disproportionate number of women entrepreneurs in the social entrepreneurship space. And I know the focus is on tech, but have you given some thought to working more with social entrepreneurs as well?
Absolutely. In fact, we brought, on the board is Carrie Coates from the Center for Advanced Entrepreneurship. I have Debbie Bajalia, Julie Colombino, a couple social entrepreneurs. And I think, it was a Debbie Farah the other day, and I think, that's going to eventually be a way of just doing business, So we may bring expertise specific in that area, and we won't be specific to tech, but we will have expertise in that area. So yeah, social entrepreneurship is important. Sure.
Hi. Yesterday, an awful story made the rounds about a publisher that she had a book about Barbie the coder, but she's not a coder. She's a designer who needs boys and infects her sister's computer with a virus that she can't fix. Poor Skipper. How do we change this? She could not do anything in this story. It's all pink, believe me.
Yep.
That she could not do anything without Brian and Stephen, who could code. Yeah. So she sat and watched. So how do we change this perception, which is pernicious and has created some awful other more serious problems currently for women involved in tech?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the studies. I think in the Harvard Business Review last month, it was the lack of diversity in tech, and there's, believe it or not, all the studies show there's still gender bias, and you may not feel it. I think as when girls still get advised to go in certain degree programs, there's bias, whether we know it or not. As enlightened as we are, there still is. When you start to get to the C level in management, you begin to feel the bias. And so it's been measured, it's been studied, it exists. I think it's just really being cognizant of our biases, be aware of it, and I think it's good that we're talking about it more. I think having more role models out there. And I just think it's a progression. I think we'll get there, but we have to talk about it. We need to be aware of it, balance it. And it's kind of interesting because I've asked some women, do you want a women's business innovation center? And no, I don't want to be separated from the good stuff. And I think there's been this, when you look at the history of women's evolution, there's been women, less was expected of women. They studied to be teachers or secretaries, so less was given. So women's resources tended to be maybe not as good. So we want that perception to be out of the way. This is going to be a strong tool. It's going to be a community for us to build and work on some of the measures, the things that we want to change, and really move forward in a really positive way, put the role models in there, change the dialogue, change the discussion, and make it a strong resource for girls. And I think that's why we brought in the youth. We want to focus on girls, young women in STEM as part of our programs, and that's why we need to fix that and just change the discussion.
I have a question here.
Sure.
I'm going to ask a whole bunch for you today. This may sound antithetical, but what are you doing to bring men into the fold? Because this is great, but as soon as it's a women-only organization, it's going to be
It
seen.
is not women only.
Right, but
it
it's
is not.
It's
But we
dismissed,
have men that are serving on the board of directors. Okay. We have men as advisors, teachers. We'll be referring everyone to the kinds of organization. So I think it is not a women-only a thing, but what it is an economic development initiative to work on some gaps that really can push our economy forward. So, once those measures are met, there may be no need for this, or we may find other things to champion. So it's a tool for our community, and it should be open to anybody. So I think if it gets that reputation, that's not good. So we need to have as many, that's why I think I need to ask you, please embrace this as a champion, men, women, attend the events, be part of it, be the advisors, because it can't go that direction, it won't work.
I'm coming.
I can go about 10 different directions on this. First, we're either led by mentors or we're driven by tormentors, and those are two ways to learn. But the mentor branding, is that something that's kind of critical to you? Because I'm thinking of a gal I know that she started a national organization for real estate investors. And when she was promoting that and going after people to bring into that was a franchise in that case, one of the things that was on her mind was, I've got to emphasize the buying power of women, because that's how I'll get the men to go, 95% of all houses, decisions are made to buy them by women. 89% of all women are the buying, they make the decisions on automobiles. That doesn't sound right to us. But when you get all those facts lined up, now all of a sudden there's this compelling case for, listen, what if we can get more women in leadership positions and take advantage, who know how to talk to women, right, and relate better so that we can actually be more profitable?
Absolutely. When you think of the numbers, I think we need to think about leadership positions. I'll see if I get to your point, but if you think about it, since the establishment of the U.S. Supreme Court in the late 1700s, do you know how many female Supreme Court justices there have been? 4. And in the last 20 years, it's just been, we've had Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Elena Kagan, and Sotomayor. So, it's just this, we need to put women in leaderships. We still, I think still 19% in our Congress. So I think we need to begin, and women are gaining financial influence. In fact, some of the data I've read, by 2013, women will control about 2/3 of the world's wealth. So, I think that plays a role in those leadership positions where we do put the right tools in place, the right laws, the right things in place. It's critical. I think we do need to think about, we could help people, serve. That's why we have the leadership, because I think some women are interested. How do I get involved in politics? How do I run for office? We want to have resources to that. How do I serve on boards? How do I become an active board member? How do I find a sponsor to get me on a board? And we want this to be part of the ecosystem as well, because that is just as valid as, growing our companies is also serving in those kinds of leadership positions.
Leslie, I have a question for you. I'm moving on you, aren't I? So $750,000 is a lot of money, especially as you get additional matching funds. How do you plan on investing that into, and the companies and the women that will be coming to you for help? How do you plan on putting that back into the community?
We will be hopefully putting an office in Canvas, and we hopefully will be putting one up in Seminole. So we will have the counselors, the person that will be running that, the program manager, the directors to run that. We'll be launching new programs, educational programs. So we'll be using that funding to put together the curriculum, pull together the faculty, do the advising. And it's really kind of through the creation of the needed educational programs to serve the access to capital. We're also looking at applying for some additional funding for micro lending and getting those kinds of programs up and running. And so the money will be used to really kind of get the right kinds of educational programs and potential funding programs in place. And that's over 750 is over 5 years. So
I have a question for you. Women are kind of categorized as not really liking to position themselves above the group sometimes, right? So stereotypically, we're looking to move the group along at the same pace we're going. What are some of the resources or some of the initiatives that the Women's Business Center will have to help women to kind of toot their own horn, right? And showcase some of their accomplishments?
Well, I think that's as valid. I mean, we tend to not toot our own home. We wait till we're perfect to be able to present. So I think having more role models, having colleagues push you through, but I kind of put up on this ecosystem awards. And what that means is we have a lot of fantastic recognition programs. And I don't know if anybody goes to Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. I haven't been to those. So I've been a couple years, and there's 40 people on stage, and I was like 1 or 2 women. So I think we just need to encourage women, just go for it. Here's how you fill out the applications. Here's how and what I've done in the past is match them up with mentors that have won in the past to help them fill out their applications. I think Companies to Watch is a great platform, but you go up there, and there was very few women. So when I asked, they're like, well, we didn't think we were ready. So I think we can begin by encouraging others, go apply for it. Here's how you do it. Here's how you win. And just kind of getting the kind of recognition. So I think it's getting comfortable being on stage, asking for things. It has to do with boosting confidence, and I think by seeing other people do there, getting the kind of mentoring, we'll slowly nudge that along too.
That's awesome. So in the spirit of 1 Million Cups, what is something that all of us here and watching can do right now to further the work that you're doing?
I would love you if you are interested in being an advisor, a mentor, or educator, please give me your card, your contact information, and you will be hearing from me, because then I will put you in our mentor system and educator database and be reaching out to you to be part of the system.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That is super exciting. I'm really excited. So want to just take a moment and thank the people that make 1 Million Cups possible. Rollins Center for Advanced Entrepreneurship. Josh, wave your hand. If you guys have, if you're interested in kind of some advanced entrepreneurship courses or resources, Josh is an amazing guy for that. He makes sure we have this beautiful auditorium every single Wednesday. So thank you so much, Rollins. Also want to thank Barney's. Every single Wednesday, faithfully, Barney's gets up early and they brew us this great coffee, and they provide it all free of charge so that we can stay hyper-caffeinated. So we love Barney's. And then Joycaster, Rudy back here with the camera. Again, this is volunteer. He spends every single morning he comes, he live streams this event, and he creates the video archive so we can go back, and we're building a community resource of startup stories. So let's give our sponsors just a thank you applause. And please join the conversation on Twitter and thank the sponsors and let them know that you appreciate them. Want to take one more minute and tell you guys we're in the middle of Global Entrepreneurship Week. How many have never heard of Global Entrepreneurship Week? Awesome. We're changing that right now. So Global Entrepreneurship Week started as a global celebration about 6 years ago from the Kauffman Foundation, the same people who founded 1 Million Cups. And the mission was pretty clear. It was to support and further entrepreneurship across the globe. And as an organization, Global Entrepreneurship Week works on two levels. One is at the very high political level, helping heads of state to change policies to make entrepreneurship more accessible and successful in their countries. The other is kind of on a grassroots level, where community initiatives like 1 Million Cups and the Big Exchange can be kind of given credibility, support, and exposure to help entrepreneurs at the local level. So I am hosting with Krista Renzo. Krista, raise your hand. We're hosting the Big Exchange, which is Orlando's first week-long celebration of Global Entrepreneurship Week. We're making history this week, you guys. This is exciting. There are like 155 countries. There's over 17,000 events with over 7 million, I think, participants. So you guys are actually part this morning, on purpose or accident. You're part of a global movement to support entrepreneurship. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to encourage you for 2 events. So this has been a whole morning till night series of events all week long. There's 2 events that I want to share with you. One is right after 1 Million Cups in this auditorium. There will still be coffee. Topher Morrison of KPI is going to share with us, he's coming all the way up from Tampa, he's going to share with us on becoming a key person of influence. So he's going to kind of break down the myth that you have to spend a long time and a lot of money to become known as an influencer in your space, and that there's a pretty systematic way and strategic way to become known as that person of influence in your space pretty quickly. Topher is definitely worth sticking around for. You guys are going to really enjoy him. So he's going to kick off at 10:30. And then Friday, 2 o'clock, right back here in this same auditorium from 2 till 4, we are going to have a showcase and a really exciting panel discussion on the topic of grit. I'm not going to tell you more. That's just to tease you and make you say, what? What do you mean by that? I invite you all to come back here, take a look at what some of the entrepreneurs have been working on all week long. They're going to showcase that for you. Leslie's going to be leading an awesome panel discussion on grit that you are not going to want to miss. And then that's going to go 2 to 4 in this auditorium on Friday. Go ahead. You can get your phones out and put it in your calendar. I'm not going to be offended. Go ahead. Good, thank you. And then after that, we're going to roll into an after party. And so we'll just kind of leave from here and we will go downtown and we'll talk about that on Friday. So thank you guys so much for letting me share that. And I want to bring up Jason Polstein of Late Shipment. Jason is an innovator in town, one of my favorite entrepreneurs in town. I really respect the work that he does. He's quietly innovating and perfecting and offering these amazing solutions, and so I'm excited that he gets this opportunity to share with us publicly what's going on.
Thank you. Thank you. With that said, I definitely don't do it by myself. Down in the front here, I have my brother who works on a lot of stuff, and Shri over here is one of our lead technical people. So, okay, so to start with, I'm with lateshipment.com, and before I kind of tell you what we do, I kind of want to tell you what we believe in. So we believe startups are exciting. The 3 of us, create startups a lot because, it's exciting to come up with an idea and then turn that idea into an actual product, generate revenue from that product, and then, build a business that creates jobs, and, it just makes the community a better place. We love discovering problems and solving them. To be honest with you, the money in startups is identifying a problem and then solving it. And that's really what we did, and that's what we do with lateshipment.com. We also believe that corporations have an ethical obligation to be good corporate citizens. This is because, we all live in the community. The employees that work at the office live in the community. So creating an environment where people work together and live together and making sure it's a good environment is important to us. And finally, this is kind of like one of the core reasons Late Shipment exists. We believe that corporations should follow through on the promises that they make. So, why we exist? UPS and FedEx are failing to follow up on their promises, and we believe that accountability matters. So to start, UPS and FedEx are huge companies. They both have great product offerings, and they fail to live up to the standards they set for themselves. And when I say they fail to live up to the standards they set for themselves, is they guarantee packages that you ship will be delivered on time or your money back. So, UPS and FedEx, I'll go through these rather quickly here. This is off of UPS's website. This is what they believe as far as the customer experience and integrity. It's pretty boilerplate stuff. FedEx has kind of the same stuff here. And basically, I ask you the question, do they have integrity in customer service? So, I already talked to you about the on-time guarantee. This means that every package shipped includes an on-time guarantee. Whether it's ground or express, every time you pay for a shipment with UPS and FedEx, they guarantee it to be on time or your money back. A late delivery means you are owed money. So, show of hands, how many of you in the auditorium have ever received a refund automatically from UPS or FedEx? Not a single one. One person. Statistically, everyone's hand, or at least half of your hand, should have gone up. The reason is it's a $2 billion problem. Every year, $2 billion worth of refunds go unclaimed that customers should be receiving from UPS and FedEx. The reason that they go unclaimed, and this kind of gets back to that customer service thing, this is what people have to do, and I'll go rather quickly here. First, you have to manually keep track of every package you send and what day and time that package is guaranteed for delivery. 2, you need to keep a list of every package that failed to meet those delivery time commitments and wait for your weekly or monthly invoice. 3, you make a list of late packages that are listed in that particular invoice. 4, you call or go online and request a refund for each of those packages. 5, you keep an eye out for the next few invoices and reconcile any refunds you have received with your list of refunds requested, making a note of any rejected requests and follow-up. And 6, you realize you are now going out of business because this entire process consumes most of your day every day. So, I know on their website they talk about having a great customer experience and integrity and believing in what they offer, the guarantees that they offer. So I'm asking the question, do they actually do that? And I believe the answer is no, and that is why LateShipment.com exists. LateShipment.com is a cloud-based solution, meaning that there is nothing to install on your computer. There's no, it's basically everything's done online. You don't have to do anything differently in your business. You don't have to change your processes. You don't have to change a thing. It's 100% hosted by us in the cloud. Second, we automatically track and request refunds for every package that you send out that's late. You don't have to pay attention to it. You just operate as normal, and we take care of the rest. 3, customers who sign up save between 2 and 8% on their shipping. That's pretty much guaranteed. If you ship packages and you sign up for LateShipment.com, you will save 2 to 8% on your shipping cost, doing nothing else. So, LateShipment.com is also a pay-for-performance company. This means that we get paid when we do what we say we're going to do for you. That means that it's free to sign up. There are no installation fees, there's no setup fees, there's no maintenance fees. It is 100% free to sign up. We simply charge 25% of what we recover for people. So if over a particular week you ship packages and you have $100 worth of refunds due to you, we take $25 and you get $75. And it's to be noted that you're getting $75 of money that you were not going to get unless you did all those steps that I showed in the previous slides. So, as a comparison, here's the 6 steps that I went through earlier compared to late shipment, which is a less than 90-second sign-up process. In less than 90 seconds, you sign up for late shipment, and you really never have to go back to our website ever again. Now, you'll probably want to because we have really cool reporting there that you don't get from logging into UPS or FedEx that'll help you save even more money. But if you just sign up one day and you never go on for 5 years, it's just going to automatically run in the background and save you money. Since our last presentation, we worked to identify our metrics to gauge our progress. We identified and understand our ideal customer, and we're possibly going to become cash flow positive by the end of the year. So real quick, I just want to go over some of the metrics that we follow. The first is number of packages tracked. We don't necessarily look at the number of people we sign up. We look at the number of packages we track each week because it's simply a numbers game. The more packages that we track in the system, the more refund opportunities we have for customers. Second, this was kind of interesting. Cold calling was our best way of figuring out who our customers are and what they want. It's kind of old-fashioned, not really tech-savvy, but simply picking up the phone, calling people, and talking to them worked really well. On top of that, we do a content marketing strategy. We have a blog where we write articles that would be good for people who run a business, startups, people interested in optimizing their business. And the interesting thing is when we started the blog, we had about 2.2 blogs read per visitor, I believe, and now we're up to 4.5, something like that, 4.5. So as we refine our blog and we get people more engaged, this is actually becoming our best converter from non-customer to customer. And finally, we look at average customer value over a 5-year period when we sign people up. And this currently I can share with you is our average customer is worth $1,500 a year, or $1,500 over 5 years, and that's something we're working to push up right now, that average. But the cool thing is, for $7 in acquisition costs, I get a customer that pays out $1,500 over a 5-year period, which is pretty good. Finally, I want to thank Million Cups. We had our first presentation a little over 6 months ago. And from that presentation, you know, we really learned a lot about how we were kind of explaining what late shipment is. The feedback we got from the audience was really great to show us where we had holes in our story, where people weren't really understanding what we were offering. And that was like a really, really big help to help us optimize the website, figure out what types of blogs to put on the website. So that was really, really useful for us. And that's all I got.
So again, don't be shy, raise your hands. We'll bring you a microphone.
So I know of at least one other service that offers like pretty much the exact same thing. It's a venture-backed company that's gone through Orlando making the rounds of pitching. So is your service any different? If not, how are you acquiring customers in a different way? And is there enough room for both of you and probably some others?
To answer your last question, there's tons of room for lots of people right now because most people don't even know that FedEx and UPS offer an on-time guarantee. So simply just creating awareness of that helps everyone involved in the space. To be completely honest with you, I believe we have a better product. I can say that because one of our businesses ships a lot of packages each month. We actually created this for us to use internally for that business. And we actually use that shipping volume to test our competitors. And we capture about 2 times the amount of refunds they do. And I don't believe that their system is completely automated. All of our competitors, they take 50% of what they recover for you. We only take 25%. And I think that's because like we're more efficient and more optimized as far as automating the process.
Hi.
Yeah.
How are you this morning?
Good.
You said I only have to log in once, and then it like runs in the background. So is this stuff that's like, how does that work?
Well, the way it works is when you first sign up for your account, you're going to provide your UPS and FedEx login details. If you've ever used a service like Mint.com, it's very similar to that. So once you sign in once, we basically have that information, and our servers throughout the day will go into your account, pull any tracking information from any shipments you've shipped, and we just, on our end, keep track of all of that. That's another thing that we do, I think, differently than our competitors is we have built internally all the stuff we need to determine whether a package is late or not. We don't rely on FedEx or UPS's databases or any calls to their APIs, through their APIs to actually solve that. So yeah, once you sign up once, you provide that information. As long as you don't change accounts, you never have to log in again.
We have a question right here.
Hi, do you work with any fulfillment services, or is it able to integrate your technology with a shipping fulfiller?
Basically, it should integrate with anyone who has a UPS or FedEx account. If you have a login for UPS or FedEx, you can sign up. And that's kind of like the way we built the platform was regardless of how you do your fulfillment, it doesn't really matter to us in our system. We just say, you know, give us your UPS and FedEx login, and we will pull that data from UPS and FedEx. So it's kind of separate from anything you do in your business.
There's a question back here.
Congratulations. I'm glad you changed the structure from 50% to 25.
Sure. Yeah, I think that was last time it was one of your recommendations, as well as a bunch of other people.
Yeah. I did a lot of research previously. Your competitor is 71 pounds, and there's a bunch of other ones too. I think that's too lofty, the 50% and too. But and it looks like you're doing well, and you said that you've grown through cold calling, and I think you could grow quite a bit, much more than competitors. So how are you kind of reaching for that goal? Are you hiring salespeople, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the next step. I mean, it's really been just in the past couple weeks that we've kind of taken all the data and put it together. And now that we kind of see that what the cost is to get a customer. Now it's just a matter of, raising the money and ramping up to acquire more customers. Now it's just simply a numbers game. Like, I need to hire more people. I need to do more of what we're currently doing. And that just, requires additional funding. Yeah.
Any validation from UPS or FedEx yet on what you guys are doing?
It's funny. FedEx knows of us. I know that because our FedEx sales rep at our other business was telling us about it. To be honest with you, she thought it was a great idea. So, to be honest with you, I don't think that UPS and FedEx could end this whole late shipment thing if they just simply automated the refund process, which they honestly should do. I mean, if you make a guarantee, you should probably follow through on it. Because, to be honest with you, FedEx and UPS know when a package is late. They don't have to do any of this stuff. They know who paid for it. They know what account it's on. They know all these things. They know when it was late. They know why it was late. Like, they could just do it, but they choose not to. Which brings up another point. One of the things that we're doing with late shipment is we're starting to roll out other ways to save people money in shipping that's not tied directly to tracking late packages. Just on the off chance that FedEx or UPS do automate that process down the road, we do have additional, ways to save people money, additional ways to generate revenue. Yes.
Are your metrics more skewed towards overnight or ground shipments?
Well, that's funny. We right now we have mostly ground makes up our volume of transactions. What we found though is going after people that ship ground that ship odd objects, like people who ship mattresses. That's like a really good person to go after. Express though is really where the money's at, to be honest with you though, because express packages are late more often. Just for right now, our strategy, we've managed to pick up people that ship ground easier. But down the road, moving into express, because express shipments are late about 8 to 12% of the time, and the dollar amount per shipment's higher. But right now, we just seem to be attracting ground people relatively easy. So we're sticking with that.
There's a question right here.
So going forward in that vein, you said, mattress companies that are shipping are great. Give us some verticals, some low-hanging fruit, so we can all understand who you're looking for as an ideal customer.
Sure. This may sound weird, but really, people that just go to our blog, like if you go to our blog, you read some articles, and you forward to people who you might think it's interesting, that's the best thing you could do for us, because it's really hard to figure out who's in charge of shipping. Like at a law firm, it might be the secretary. At another company, it might be the office manager. At another company, it might be the shipping manager. So trying to target the exact person who's in charge of signing up the account is very difficult. But once we found that once people start going to our blog, that eventually gets to the decision maker of the company, who then can pass that information along. So like our conversion rate off our blog is really good. So I just suggest, share our blog, which is lateshipment.com/blog, and just share those articles.
We have one right here.
Yeah, I was just curious. You explained how you were dealing with, people signing up, but the question that I would have is how are you getting the revenue for yourself? Because FedEx or UPS is going to send me a check for essentially what they owe me. Do I then have to write you a check? And so if you're dealing with a shipper who's shipping hundreds of products and you're getting, thousands of dollars in refunds for them, do they have to keep cutting you a check on a regular basis? And that's not necessarily automated. That's my
we to start, everyone who signs up gets a $100 kind of free trial. So the first $100 in refunds is free. After you expire with that first $100, we send you out an email that says, hey, your trial's expired. You need to keep a credit card on file. So we do keep customers' credit cards on file, and we then look every invoice of what we recover for people, and then we hit their credit card for 25% of that amount. If for some reason the credit card expires or whatever, or it's not valid anymore, we simply stop sending in refunds for them, but we continue to email them, letting them know which refunds they're missing out on until they update their credit card. And surprisingly, that's been one of the things that's been relatively easy. We thought that might be a hard conversion, getting people from we call it the third stage to the fourth stage, where we have a credit card on file. But people seem to see the value of it, and the conversion is pretty easy from that third stage to the fourth stage. Yes?
I just shipped UPS yesterday, so you have my attention. Can I assume that you should always request a signature at receiver?
It doesn't really matter. The signature doesn't really, it's all by when they scan the package. So whether you request a signature or not doesn't make it more or less likely to be late. And if you ship a lot of UPS stuff, you should probably look at our website if you have a UPS or FedEx account. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you have signature required or not.
And my follow-up question is, what is considered late?
So on Express, and this kind of depends. There's so many different offerings between FedEx and UPS on the different speeds of service, if you will. Typically, though, Express is down to the minute. So if you have something that's guaranteed by 8 a.m., if it gets there at 8:01, that's technically late. On ground, it's the following day. So like if I ship something from here to Atlanta, that's a one-day ground shipment on either UPS or FedEx. So if that gets there on Friday as opposed to Thursday, that would be considered late. And you'd be due, and anytime it's late, you're due 100% of the refund. Yes?
Are you quantifying the data and analyzing it so that possibly you can use that as another revenue stream where you can maybe sell that back to FedEx or UPS or even to big corporations to show them based on the number of packages and the percentage of packages that are late, you could be saving this much money, because that might be something that you could also make a revenue stream off of.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely something we've thought about. I mean, as we get more customers, we get bigger and bigger data. If you look at like big data as a whole, there are some different things we can do that are kind of unique. I mean, one thing that we can do is, a lot of people don't realize UPS and FedEx offer discounts to companies based on shipping volume. That whole process is kind of like in the dark. Like, I don't know if my shipping volume compared to your shipping volume is the same, and if it is, or do you have a better discount than I do? So as we start getting more and more customers, I'll be able to tell you like, hey, you should request a better discount because your shipping volume warrants it. And at the same time, again, like, we kind of want to tread really lightly here, because like I don't want to be like using people's data without them, you know, knowing about it or, you know, giving permission for it. But down the line, I mean, we could also use the data to say like, hey, UPS, these FedEx customers are being overcharged based on what you charge for that amount of rate. You should go visit those guys because they'll probably switch from FedEx to UPS. So there are some opportunities with data to figure out how to monetize it. And I mean, definitely it's data that UPS and FedEx could use.
Right here.
Hold on, I'm going to ask a quick question.
Yeah.
So, have you seen this, the commercial that is pernicious everywhere called TrueCar? And TrueCar gives you an idea as to what people paid on average. Is that something you can say, hey, on average, people shipping 50 pounds from Orlando to Syracuse paid X? So at least it gives them an idea as to what the average rate is and where their deal falls. So instead of getting the shipper involved, you're getting the customer involved and saying, hey, you have an opportunity to save additional money here. So it's an added value. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we can do. And again, like to what you're talking about, like if I can use extreme examples, Amazon probably gets a very, very good rate from UPS based on their shipping. They probably get like, if I just had to throw some random number out, they might get 60% off whatever the published rate is. Your business for your shipping volume might get 30%. Shay may have a business that ships the same volume as you do, but she's only getting 20%. So at that point, like I could say like, hey, Shay, you need to call your UPS or FedEx rep and say, I need 10% off my rate based on my volume. So yeah, we could definitely say like what the average is. The problem with the average is, you know, people like Amazon would kind of skew the average to the point where I don't know if you could convince UPS to give you Amazon's rates. So
I'm sure this service could benefit anybody that ships, but you probably have a customer in mind that ships a minimum volume. What is that, and how are you specifically messaging your communication to those customers?
Sure. I mean, we're still relatively new to figuring out who our best customer is. Right now, that's why I said like we don't necessarily target like number of customers. We go after customers who have higher shipping volumes. The interesting thing is companies with higher shipping volumes have more layers of bureaucracy, if you will. So it's harder to find the decision maker. It's easier for us to increase the number of small businesses, but small businesses don't ship as many packages. So right now we're kind of trying to figure out like, is it better to put the effort into signing up a ton of small businesses or spend that time and effort signing up 2 or 3 larger businesses that have larger shipping volumes? So I'm not sure I can quite answer your question yet, but I know it's something we're working on.
My advice would be to go after the big ones.
Yeah, I think that's where it looks like it's trending right now. So.
Well, you're finally in the space that I was waiting to hear you talk about, because I spent like 4 years after I thought I had retired, once no such thing, and where I was a gatekeeper to a real high-end pay-to-play CEO network. There's your decision maker. They just say, go meet John, go meet Sally. It's real simple. So it's a matter of where are you networking.
Yeah.
So that's because I'm sitting here and going, hey, look what time of year. JCPenney's a great client. GSA, any time of the year, great client. But all you need is the intros to get in there. So that, on my ask, one of my 3 things would have been the C level or higher. And there are higher levels in C.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because, our initial thought when we first started marketing this was we'll go online, pay-per-click, we're kind of a tech company in this space, so we'll do it that way. It didn't work at all. That type of advertising, at least we couldn't figure out how to make it work. What we ended up getting was phone calls of old people wanting to know where their package was. I have a tracking number. Can you track it for me? And that that really wasn't the best use of our money. So yeah, to your point, introductions to decision makers is really much better conversion for us.
So how about super sellers on eBay? People that do nothing but ship all the time, high volume, fully automated, they print their, how could you go after them, or have you thought, is there a way for you to do that?
Yeah, if they have a FedEx or UPS number, they could definitely sign up, and they would be great people for us to have. We haven't really created a strategy to go after those types of people yet. But yeah, we're definitely open to figuring out how to do that, because I think those are great companies to go after. We've also talked about other strategies about trying to get kind of startups early. Like if you look at one of the places we're trying to figure out how to market to is like Kickstarter, because things that fund on Kickstarter, they're going to ship their product most likely, and they probably are a brand new company, don't have anything. It's easy to get to the decision maker, and I know that if you pre-sold 50,000 units on Kickstarter, you're going to ship 50,000 units sometime in the future. So that's another place we're trying to look for people there. But yeah, eBay sellers that ship a lot of volume, those would be great customers.
Hold on, please do the microphone.
Who gets the guarantee, the shipper or the receiver?
Whoever paid for the shipment. And the reason I say that is because sometimes if you're the receiver, you may put it on your account. So if you put the shipment on your account, you would be entitled the refund. So basically whatever account it's on, that's who's entitled. Which brings up a whole nother point. Technically, depending on the ethics of your company, if you do ship a lot of stuff online, if you're getting refunds for packages that were shipped to your customer, but you're not refunding the customer for it, you kind of increased your margin quite a bit. So if you do ship a lot of volume, you could not pass that savings on to the customer if you chose to, or you could choose to pass it on to the customer and just have that much better customer experience for your customers.
So we're at the end of another amazing story, and we thank you for coming to share again with us the journey, especially since the last time. Sure. So you know what comes next. What can we as a community do right now to help you further this along and get you to the next step?
Sure. Since I've been here, I had a slide for it. Right there. So visit our blog, forward it to your friends, and that's it right there, lateshipment.com/blog.
Wonderful. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Another opportunity to see, for those of you that were not here at the beginning, and you know who you are, you missed this really cool new tool that David has implemented that now shares what our noise is on social media and how we can amplify this and continue to share the message. This is again a nice turnout. Thank you very much for coming. We ran out of coffee. It's been a while since we've run out of coffee, so thank you. Let's run out of coffee next week. That will be very, very cool. I'm kidding. We'll have more, so don't be shy. Again, this is by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. So our ask of you is to go out and sign up for the newsletter. Go ahead and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and encourage your friends, and if you have an idea, if you've launched a business, don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Sign up online. We'll guide you through the process. There are great free tools that we can guide and send your way to help you craft your story, and we look forward to seeing you guys here with a bunch more friends next week. Thanks.